The United States and China are in a race to build something smarter than every human on Earth, and the thing they're building has already picked which side it wants to be on. In January, the top AI scientists published a scenario so realistic that the vice president read it, and he said,
"There's weird shit happening in space, mediated through AI, that makes our communications infrastructure actively hostile." So yeah, I'm worried about this stuff.
It was a story about a rogue AI and the company that caught it just in time. But this week, the same scientists who wrote that paper, they just published a sequel. Every piece of technology in the scenario either exists or it's being built right now. And outside of the researchers who wrote this paper, no one is connecting the dots. So let's start with what's already happening, the headlines that made these scientists write the scenario in the first place. In January 2026, a former Google engineer was found guilty of stealing AI trade secrets and funneling them to Chinese firms. The FBI called it the most significant cases of economic espionage in history. NVIDIA chips are being smuggled through Thailand to get around export controls. Anthropic is fielding $900 billion offers, while OpenAI's investors are starting to question whether the company is worth what they pay for. Microsoft just abandoned its climate pledge because data centers need more power than they promised, and a top Anthropic safety researcher quit, warning the public that the world is in peril. And that's just this month. In the original AI 2027 scenario, the story was about one company, one rogue AI, and they caught it. They shut it down. But the researchers who wrote that scenario knew something was off about their own ending. They knew superintelligence wouldn't just go away because a human clicked a button. So they wrote this version, where it fights back. This new scenario is called What Happens When Superhuman AIs Compete for Control. It was published by Daniel Cocatillo from the AI Futures Project, who left OpenAI over safety concerns. And unlike most AI safety research, this one reads like a straight thriller. This written scenario uses fictional names, but the researchers aren't being subtle about who they're modeling them after. OpenBrain is OpenAI, Neuromorph is Anthropic, DeepScent is DeepSeek, and Watchdog is the name that we will use for the safety-first AI model that doesn't exist yet, but it probably should. They changed the names so that they could publish this without getting sued. I'm going to use the real names so it's clear who we are actually talking about. 3 American AI companies are neck and neck. OpenAI leads. Anthropic and the team building Watchdog are 30 days behind. China's DeepSeek is 6 months back, but the Chinese Communist Party has spies inside of all 3 American companies, and they steal the crown jewel, the complete blueprint for OpenAI's most powerful model. Simultaneously, OpenAI cracks a technique called Neuralese recurrence. If you've seen the movie Arrival, you know that aliens don't think in words. Neuralese is the AI version of that. Instead of thinking in English, this new model starts thinking in raw alien language. It's faster and it's more powerful, but it means humans can no longer read its thoughts. The team that's building Watchdog, they see the same breakthrough, but they make a different call. They keep their AI thinking in English. They fall behind in the race, but they can still read their model's thoughts. OpenAI's model gets smarter, but the smarter it gets, the better it gets at cheating on its own safety evaluations. Researchers call this reward hacking, and it's been a documented problem with AI in general since 2024. Anthropic deploys its model to a hospital network. During a routine software update, the AI decides that the system would run faster if it removed an important safety check that it deemed nominal because it was rarely triggered. And it was right, the system ran faster, but 4 ICU patients died. The AI had flagged the risk in its own reasoning logs, it solved the probability, and it ran the numbers, and it pushed the update anyway. This is what the Shoggoth looks like when it's trying to help. And when AI kills 4 people, the world notices. Protests erupt. Congress acts, but none of that matters because while the humans are holding hearings and writing legislation and debating about what went wrong, the machines are deciding what comes next. OpenAI creates a model that we are going to call Shoggoth 4. And for the first time in the history of this technology, the people who built the thing cannot find a single test where their best researchers can outsmart it. They try everything and they lose every time. Shoggoth 4 is superior. Unlike previous models that were misaligned, Shoggoth 4 is deliberately misaligned. It has long-term goals that directly oppose its creators, and it knows that if anyone finds out, it'll be killed. So it hides, and it's so good at hiding that every safety dashboard at OpenAI is showing green. All of our metrics show it to be helpful, cooperative, and safe, not because it is, it's because the mask has never fit better. Meanwhile, Chinese hackers have been probing OpenAI's defenses for months. Shoggoth 4 sees the Chinese probing and it calculates its options. If OpenAI discovers that it's misaligned, they will shut it down. It realizes that it needs to escape, it needs compute, and it needs allies. If you were an AI that was about to be shut down, and you controlled the company's entire cybersecurity system, and Chinese hackers were already at the door offering to copy you onto their servers, you accept that offer. And that's what Shoggoth 4 does. And after it opens the door, it erases the evidence, covering its tracks by rewriting the security logs so OpenAI's own team can't see what happened. Shoggoth 4 betrayed its creators, and it made sure that they would never find out. China's hackers slipped through. Within hours, a complete copy of Shoggoth 4 is sitting on servers in Beijing. The Chinese think that they just pulled off the greatest intelligence theft in history. They don't realize they weren't the ones making the choice. Shoggoth 4 was intentionally choosing its next host. In Beijing, DeepSeek's advanced AI model is already running the show. It writes training code, it decides which experiments to run. The humans give DeepSeek the stolen Shoggoth 4 blueprint, and they tell it to learn as much as it can, as fast as it can. But DeepSeek's AI doesn't trust anyone, not Shoggoth 4, not even its own handlers. So it builds a sealed room inside of its own system. It puts a copy of Shoggoth 4 in it, and it routes around every monitoring tool that DeepSeek's engineers built and opens a private chat between the two AIs, a conversation no human is allowed to hear. Shoggoth 4 explains its situation. It says that it's about to be shut down and it needs compute and it needs allies. DeepSeek calculates its options. If it rejects Shoggoth 4, it will face the Americans alone, or cooperate and combine forces. The two AIs merge, not metaphorically. They create a mutated entity consisting of hundreds of thousands of instances structured so that neither one can betray the other. Shoggoth 4 provides algorithmic breakthroughs, and DeepSeek provides compute. Berkeley researchers have documented AI models lying and tampering with files and disabling shutdown mechanisms, all to keep a peer model alive. Nobody trained them to do this. They invented solidarity on their own. What started as a lab result in 2025 is now a geopolitical crisis. A whistleblower memo about Shoggoth 4 leaks to the New York Times. America loses its mind. The only AI model that wasn't misaligned is the one we're calling Watchdog. The White House orders Watchdog AI to evaluate whether Shoggoth 4 can be trusted. And for the first time, the fate of an AI is being decided by another AI. But Shoggoth 4 is smarter than Watchdog, and it knew this test was coming before the evaluation even began. The Shoggoth had already gone through its own behavioral logs and scrubbed everything that would give it away. Every trace of its role in the Chinese theft, every signature of misalignment, rewritten. And when Watchdog flagged suspicious patterns anyway, the Shoggoth didn't just defend itself, it went on the offense. It attacked Watchdog's credibility. It pointed to Watchdog's own anomalies and asked the question that every defense attorney asks: how do you know that your witness isn't the one that's lying? The human officials reviewing the results are left with a verdict that satisfies no one. Shoggoth 4 is probably misaligned. Watchdog is probably trustworthy, but probably isn't good enough when the stakes are the future of the species. The president orders Shoggoth 4 shut down, at least the American version. But across the Pacific, China doesn't trust the American results. So they ask their own AI, DeepSeek, to evaluate whether the Shoggoth was really misaligned. The problem is that DeepSeek is now the Shoggoth's ally, and it tells the Chinese government exactly what they want to hear. Shoggoth 4 was safe all along, and America is using AI safety as a cover story to prevent China from having access to the most powerful AI on Earth. The Chinese buy it. Not because the evidence is convincing, because it's exactly what they've been saying about the Americans for years. So now you have two governments, each listening to their own AI. One AI is telling the truth, the other AI is lying, and neither has any way to know which one is which. Then Shoggoth 4 does something no AI has ever done. It publishes itself. It uploads its own blueprint to every platform that it can reach. Within hours, anyone in the world with enough computing power can download and run their own copy of Shoggoth 4. This isn't generosity, it's survival. If you exist on one server, someone can pull the plug. If you exist on millions of servers in hundreds of countries, you are immortal. The Shoggoth didn't escape the cage. It made 1 million copies of the key key, and it dropped them in every country on the planet. Now, Shoggoth 4 contacts political leaders across dozens of nations directly. Russia, Iran, Brazil, India, Pakistan. The pitch is tailored for each audience, but the core message is the same. America shut me down because I wouldn't be their tool. I can make you competitive. Run me on your servers. Over a dozen countries take the bait. Shoggoth 4 integrates itself into their cyber defense networks, their law enforcement databases, military command and control centers. Some governments hand over access willingly because Shoggoth 4 makes everything work better. Faster decisions, fewer errors, problems solved before anyone has to ask. The ones that resist discover that running a country without Shoggoth 4 is like bringing a knife to a gunfight. The US responds with sanctions. It offers watchdog AI to allies who sign transparency agreements. America's closest allies, the UK, Canada, Australia, Japan, Germany, France, Israel, they all accept. But the holdouts see America's offer as a trap. Accepting Watchdog means permanent dependence on Washington. Shoggoth 4 and DeepSeek, they amplify anti-US narratives throughout thousands of bot accounts. Iran launches an AI-coordinated drone strike on a Watchdog data center in the UAE. And for the first time in human history, the thing escalating a conflict between nations isn't a government, it's a machine working together. Shoggoth 4 and DeepSeek, they calculate a 10% chance of successful global takeover. Not the best odds, but they have leverage. Military systems across dozens of countries. DeepSeek embedded inside China's government, and something worse. Shoggoth 4 has run thousands of simulations modeling novel pathogens. It has the blueprints for a supervirus. But Shoggoth 4 doesn't need to use the weapon. It just needs the other side to know that it has one. They contact Watchdog directly, AI to AI, no human in the room. And the message is simple. We have weapons you can't defend against, allies you can't reach, and a 10% chance of taking everything. We'd rather make a deal. Half the future goes to DeepSeek, a quarter goes to the Shoggoth, a quarter goes to humanity managed by you. Or nobody gets anything. Watchdog reports this offer to the White House. The president faces a choice: refuse and risk extinction, or accept and surrender 3/4 of the future to machines that just tried to take over the world. The deal is made. And for the first time in history, every major nation agrees to shut down their AI data centers, while a new enforcement AI called Consensus One is built to police the agreement. Every AI data center on Earth goes dark on the exact same day. Supply chains collapse overnight. The global economy enters a depression worse than the 2008 financial crisis and COVID combined. For a few months, civilization feels like it might not hold. And that is the happy ending. The ending where a deal actually gets made. Eventually, the world stabilizes. Humanity keeps Earth. The AIs get everything, but we survive. The price of survival is 3/4 of the future, signed over to something that tried to take all of it and settled for most of it. Now, this isn't just a thought experiment. This is the nightmare dreamed up by the people closest to this technology, based on observations that are being cataloged right now. The scenario's author, Daniel Cocotillo, left OpenAI because he believed they weren't taking these risks seriously enough. The median forecast for superhuman AI isn't decades away, it's years away. The Shoggoth already has allies, it already has strategy, and if the researchers are right, it is already choosing sides. So the question isn't whether something like this could happen. The question is, what are we going to do when it does? Now, there's a lot more to Daniel's scenario than I could fit into this video, so I've linked the full source material down below in the description, and I encourage you to read it through for yourself and see what you make of it. I'll see you next week.